Hello, lovelies, and welcome to another daily creativity during the month of May Dailies. My name is Charlotte Burns, and I'm so pleased on this very sunny day to be bringing you another inspirational video. So today I am going to be talking to you about MIFYH. Let me explain what that is. So that is what's in this little blue book here. Apart from the tags, this is the Make It From Your Heart. So MIFYH, Make It From Your Heart. And these are patterns that Close to My Heart have put together in a book for us. This one's volume 5 and it's all scrapbooking patterns. No, it's scrapbooking and card making patterns. There you go. So volume 5 has scrapbooking and card making patterns, and the other volumes have similar, either all scrapbooking, all card making, or a mixture of scrap and card making patterns. So I pulled these out and showed them the other day, and one of the patterns actually really grabbed me, and I thought, oh, I'd like to try that. So I'm going to try that today. Now, before I get started on that, I also wanted to show you a couple of things that I've used in preparation. First of all were these fancy tags. So I'm going to just bring this over here. So the fancy tags, and I wanted to show you that these are memory protectors that fit into these albums. So this is an 8x6 album, and you can get memory protectors. You can get full memory protectors. You can also get the 4x6 memory protectors, and I find them really great to use for my dies, not die cuts, dies, because I can just slide them into the little memory protectors and then I can flip through an album. So that's why that's in there. It doesn't normally live in here. But this is a very old, really cool fancy tags set that I have used on, I've cut out a couple of pieces that I intend on using on this page, which you'll see in a minute. The other set that I've used are the layered flowers. Now, you can see it's a very big die. And what I would do with this one is I would actually cut it down into sections that would fit into my little mini memory protectors. So I'd cut that down into sections to fit in, and then I would just pick the different flowers to put in. So these are all the flowers. So on this particular page that I'm about to show you, I decided that these flowers were too big for the page. They really didn't work. So you'll see in a minute, I have used some of the smallest shapes and turned them into flowers, which was really exciting. And I'm looking there going, I must have left them. Oh no, are they? I think it was this shape. Yes, these, possibly those two shapes. Anyway, moving right along. So this is the Make It From Your Heart. And when we open it up, there's a little bit of information about using the guide. And then it's got an overview of all of the different patterns, which is really great because it tells you, it shows you the pattern in a really quick glance. So it's a bit of an index. And then it also tells you how many photos you could fit on the page. Now that's just flat on the page, so that's not including any flip flaps. So you've got one photo for 1 and 2, 2 photos for 3, 3 photos for 4, 10 photos for layout 5, etc., etc., all the way through to 30. So there are 30 different designs. There are 20 page layouts and then 10 card layouts. And what I am doing today is this one here. So it's actually pattern number 1. And I thought, oh, that's so cool. I've done this before. It's weaving, and I really want to have a go again at doing it. But this time I'm actually going to follow a pattern just to see how I go. Now, you also know that I've been pulling lots and lots of my old scrapbooks apart and putting them into new albums, but just putting the photos straight onto a white piece of cardstock, which is making it really easy for me just to flick through and have a look and see, you know, what photos suit. So I'm going to pull this underneath. You may not get a real feel for this because I haven't got the camera zoomed all the way out, but you'll see a blank page here. So as I was flicking through this particular album, I was looking for a photo, can't remember what, I think I was looking for some sort of inspiration, and I came across the photo. It was a single photo on here that didn't really go with these, So to me, that's a good opportunity to do a one-page layout, which is what I'm working on today. So that's what this is. This is a single-page layout. And this was the photo. And how cute is that? And when I saw her pants, I thought, oh yes, that would go potentially really well with a woven layout. So that is what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to walk you through how to do a woven layout. So you don't even need to buy the book, but the book's a good thing. All right. If you are watching live, I would like to say hello. If you're watching on the replay, I'm also saying hello to you too. Hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. You'll know if you're watching on the replay because it won't have a red live little symbol up the top. I'm going to say especially hello to Kate. Thank you so much for commenting, and to everyone else who's watching live. Hope you're doing really good, Kate and hubby. So let's have a look at this pattern. And the great thing about these is you can actually pop them out of the book. So I'm going to come up here and it shows you the layout. It also gives you dimensions in inches of how far down and across to come with your bits and pieces. Now this is showing the layout using a 5x7 inch photo. My photo, as you saw, was actually 4 inches by 4 inches. I've trimmed it down to 4x4. So it doesn't matter if your photo is not the same as on the layout. It's just a matter of choosing what you want to do. Then you've got cutting diagrams, which are also, again, really, really fantastic. I love how Close to My Heart do their cutting diagrams. So it shows that you only need 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 pieces of paper. So paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it shows these as 1/2 inch by 7.5 and 1/2 inch by 8 inch. And then they're all labeled. So AGM, BHN, EKQ, blah, 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 blah. This is what it means. So I've taken 3 colors. I've pre-cut them into 1/2 inch strips, and then I've cut them down to 7.5 and 8 inch strips. Now what I'm doing is I'm just using standard cardstock. The Close to My Heart cardstock, as you may or may not know, is double-sided. It's a different color on one side to the other. So one side is the true color and the opposite side is actually a lighter shade. So I've just used cardstock and I grabbed the photo. Let me grab the photo back. And I went through my cardstock and tried to kind of matchy the stripes in Josephine's pants. So they're the colors that I've chosen. And I did look for some pattern paper, but couldn't lay my hands on it really quickly. So this is one of the ideas that they are showing. That's how they've done theirs. And then that is the other one. And you'll see too, this is the original design with your woven piece down the bottom and then a 5x7 photo up the top. This is another design where they've actually put it up the top and they've put their 5x7 down the bottom. So as I said, you can do whatever you like with it. So they've used the light and dark side of their pieces as well. And I'm just going to show you. What I did was with the leftover bits, so here you go card makers, with the leftover bits, I actually did a bit of a trial and I wove all of the pieces and put it together and thought, yes, I really do like that. I did mount this one on black. Mine will be mounted on the white. So that is what it looks like. And once I had cut them all, so if you want to do this pattern, once I cut them all, that's really awkward holding the book. I'm going to take that out again. So as I mentioned, I cut all of these pieces. Then what I did was I put them in order. So I've gone paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and I've put the 3 longer pieces, which I decided were going to be the light side, and then the 3 darker pieces, which were the dark side. Sorry, the 3 shorter pieces, which I decided were going to be the dark side. So I laid them out along my desk. So paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Then what I did was I put a little bit of, then I flipped them over because I'm going to put adhesive on the back of them. So just a little bit, and in the tip, so they also have tips. And the tip says here, when weaving paper, use adhesive only on ends of strips. So that's really good. That makes it super easy for me. Then I went through and I laid them out in order. So I went A, which was a short paper 1, B is a long paper 2. Then I looked for C, so C was a short paper 3, and then D is a long paper 2. So I went along and I've put them all in order, and that way I can get this done super quick. And I learnt that by doing this piece here. So I'm going to move all of these across. These are just some of the things that I may end up using on this page. I've grabbed out some ink. I know I'm going to use that. So Bluebird, which is the colour that I'm using. Flamingo, which is another colour that I'm using. And I've also used Ballerina. Ballerina is the colour that I decided to mount the actual photo on. So this is a 4x4 photo, and I've mounted on 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I don't often do that. Sometimes I will actually cut the photo down to try and save paper on the mount, but because the page called for a 5x7, I decided to keep the photo as big as I could. So I've got some ink. This is a stamp that I saw, and isn't it interesting when you're doing stamping, when you're buying stamps, you might buy it for a certain element. So I bought this stamp for this piece here. It comes with a thin cut that goes really well with our shaker elements. So I actually bought it for this, and you can see the heart and the flowers have been used. But this sentiment here, which you can't really see, is it? This sentiment here, days spent with you are the best, I hadn't used, and when I saw that I thought, you know what, that works really well with this photo. So I've actually pulled that off the stamp set and already popped it onto a block. I've got my adhesive. I've got this fun tool, which I will tell you what that is in a second, and I'll show you what I've done. So here's my background page. I'm using just white daisy cardstock, and I've put these in order that they're going to go onto the page, like so. Now, by the time I got to about here, I realized that there was a pattern going. So rather than referring to the diagram, I just kept going with the pattern. Now, this is one of Close to My Heart's not so new tools. I believe it is called a pickup tool, and it's brilliant. When it comes, both ends are like this. Use a metal sharpener to sharpen it, and it's not sticky as such. It doesn't feel sticky, but it picks things up. So down here I have the 3 shapes that I cut. If you look on the photo, there's little yellow dots on Josie's pants. So I thought I want to put a little bit of yellow in there. And I'm sort of taking a leaf out of both of these. So I decided to do flowers like this, but I've also cut out some tags like that one. So this little tool here is great because you press it down on your paper, and it's not going to work now. No, yep. And it picks it up. I use it on sequins, paper, all of that sort of thing. So what I've done with these, I'm going to actually lift it with my fingers, is I've actually taken liquid glass and I've put a glob of liquid glass onto this middle piece. Hopefully you can see that's a little bit shiny, and it's also a little bit raised, just to give it a slight element of, just to make it pop a little bit. So I'm not sure if they're dry. I'm going to put them aside, and by the time I finish this page, which hopefully won't take me too long, because I'm sure you don't want to sit there listening to me all day, and they are pretty dry because that one just fell on its face. Looks a little bit like an egg, actually. I could do a white in the middle and make it like an egg. There you go. I've just had an idea. Yes, so they should be completely dry by the time I've finished this. All right. Now, once you've got all this cut, and as I said, I've put them in order so I don't have to try and look for them, then you can have a look at where this all starts, which on the pattern tells me I come down 3.5 inches and across 1 3/4 inches. Now, again, I don't have to do that, but when I did my little idea, I thought I do want Josie's photo up there, so I am happy to have that woven piece down the bottom. So I'm going to do, as they said, because I'm a sometimes rule follower, I like to follow Cre8ivity exactly how they've done it. So I'm taking piece number 8, which is the short piece of the first paper, and I'm coming down 3.5 inches. So we come down, and I can't really see that, so I might just put that over there. Go 1, 2, 3.5, which is in the middle of that light piece. So down 3.5, and then we're coming across 1 3/4. So keeping in mind, I'm already 1/4 of an inch in. I need to come across to about 2 inches. So we're going to go there. Now I'm just eyeballing it. And after doing this one, and once you see what I do here, I do know that you can shift it around a little bit. Right. So piece B, so you see piece A comes down here, then you've got B, which goes across there. So this is B, because I've already laid it out. And B doesn't actually say where it starts, but it's, you know, roughly down there. All right, so I've already put adhesive on the ends of all of these, and that's why they're stuck on here. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to stick it out to about there. And again, if you wanted to, you could get a ruler, make sure it's straight. At this stage, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Piece C then comes down this way. So piece C just goes PC. Just goes like that. I'll space it a little bit closer than that, I think. And it goes over the top of that one. D comes along. Now, D will go underneath this one and over the top of that one. Like so. And I want to try and space it evenly. The best tell to see if I am spacing it evenly is actually this little, let me go again, this little thing here. That gap there, if that looks square, I should have it pretty well pieced evenly. So we've gone A, B, C, D, E is next. So that should be this piece here. And again, we've gone over this, so we want to go under and then over. And again, spacing. Now, the other thing I noticed with these pages, the sample pages, is they're a little bit up and down. So it doesn't really matter if you do go up and down. You can make it straight, or you can go up and down. But because this is only tacky, I can actually adjust that in a little bit. So looking at this now, I might even just lift these up and start to adjust them just a little bit. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do this one, and then bring that up to there. And I can see that in moving that one, this is now not square, so I'm just going to move that across. Make sure that's square again. All right. So we've gone A, B, C, D, E, we're down to F, which is here. And this one went under, so we're going over, under, over. This one I'm going to bring in a little bit. And I can see that they're starting to go a little bit not quite so straight, which is okay at the moment. Once you get the weave a little bit tighter, I seem to be saying a little bit a lot, then it will make it more difficult to shift them around. So 1, 2, 3, and we started here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're up here again. This has gone under, so it will go over that one. So I'm just going to weave under there, and we're lifting this up. That one, this one, that's gone over, so it needs to start underneath this one. And I think the pattern works really well. Not necessarily the colours I would have normally put together, but certainly once I pop the photo on there, I think that it will work really, really well. All right, so at this stage, I can feel that the paper is starting to really mat together. So I just want to make sure that my lines are fairly straight. So to do that, I'm going to line up the edge of my paper with, so this is my Versamat. I'm just going to line it up with one of the straight lines. I'll have a look at where this is and just make sure it's tracking down. I can even grab something really like a ruler, but what have I got handy? I've got a flip flap handy. Just using a straight edge, I'm going to go from there and recognize that this is not that straight after all. So push that across and do the same with this one. So that is at about just above there. Yep, and that one's fairly straight, so that's okay. All right. Now, what have I done? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. This one's next. So going over, under, and you just weave it like so. This one's coming down. Oh, that one keeps moving. That's better. This one's next. Over, under, over, under, over. And we go up. All right. Okay. I know, now I need to think of something to say, don't I? This is where it's good to have this pre-recorded so I can just quickly go through and fast forward. Today, I am planning after this on going for a walk because the sun is shining for the first time in ages. It's cold outside, but that's okay. I want to go for a walk and absorb some of that beautiful vitamin D that is so good for all of us. Then I'm going out for lunch with a friend, and I just had a call just before I went live on here from another friend who's going up north of me. She lives in the city, let's say. She is going to drop in, which is super exciting. So it's going to be a good day today. I can see that one of these has gone wonky donks. That's okay because I can straighten it up. So it's just a matter of remembering to do under, over, and check this first one to see what you did last. And there you go. Kind of follow on from there. As I said, you can just do straight edges, and I'll bring my card down in a second, show you. But I have found that putting a little bit of adhesive on all of the strips first does certainly help in putting it together. So this one I've got pretty well straight edges all the way, except for these where I've trimmed off. And I'll be doing the same on this layout once it's finished. Now I've forgotten where I'm up to. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And I think that if you did try and do adhesive all the way along that strip, it would make it very difficult to weave. Realistically, you don't need to, because the weaving, as you'll see in a minute, does hold that. It holds all of this down flat, which is really good. Top, bottom, under. Over, under, over. This, as I said, I'm doing this with cardstock. You could do it with pattern paper, and that's certainly what they did in their example. I'm using the light and the dark side of the cardstock. You don't even need to do that. You could use different colors as well. They've only used three different papers, which I've followed suit. Let's put this straight. Which I've followed. So I've only used 3 different colors, but you could use more colors if you wanted to, just depending on what your particular photo is. You could put more photos on, less photos, you know, just really make it your own. But the main thing is just doing that little bit of weaving to give your page some sort of background. And although previously I thought, well, I don't need that. I don't need single page spreads. I'm actually finding more and more, especially going back through older photos, that I do need them. That's got to go over, Charlotte. I do need single page spreads because I have photos that don't belong with a second page. That's one thing. The other reason why I'm finding I need single page spreads is for the start and the end of albums. So I've got lots of photos that I've now chucked into albums, and I don't have a single page spread to start with or to finish with, which that's another thing I've got to overcome. So this is really, really good to use as a single page spread, either for an opener or a finisher. And you wouldn't even need to put a photo on this either. You could even just put a title if you wanted to. Now, what I can see is, although I've got all of these fairly square, which means that they're evenly spaced, what I don't have is the same amount of space up the top as down the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a few things. So I'm going to move these up. And this is where, if you just have the smallest bit of adhesive, it's better, because when you move your pieces, it means that you're not going to rip your paper, which I think is fairly important. All right, I can still move the end, so if I want to, I can straighten that up. And the other one is I'm also going to have to shift these ones across, possibly. We'll just see. We might even just cut them off. 2, 3. But I'm really loving how this is looking. I liked it on the black, but it's looking fantastic on the white. And the little bit of decorations that I've got to go on this as well, I think are going to really make this page. My issue at the moment is I want to put penguins on everything. It's quite funny because those penguin stamps as part of National Scrapbooking Day are just so darn cute. I have started to put penguins on a lot of things, but I'm resisting, I tell you. Right, now these two, I reckon I can just go like that. Beautiful. All right, so that's shifted them up. One and 2, that's a lot better. There we go. And that's all good. Now I'm not going to stick all of that down. What I'll do is I'll stick them down and I'll take a photo afterwards, because I want to keep going. So my little Josie photo is going to go there. I think I'll go there. I'm going to trim these off. So my scissors, which, how many times in a day do you lose your scissors? I knew I had 2 pairs over here. Anyway, so what I want to do with these is actually keep them So just something like this. No particular design. Just figuring it out as I go. I'm actually going to do that one that way. And then this one will go that way. There we go. All right, that's better. Now, the reason I'm putting this on an angle, there's a couple of reasons. One is because the actual photo was taken on an angle, but also just to give it a little bit more of a look. So these are now trimmed. I will be trimming these as well. But I wanted to show you the other elements that I'm going to put on. So again, looking at the designs on this, I really like the tag elements here. I was thinking of doing a heading, but I couldn't find any stamps and I didn't really know the heading until I came across, as I said, the sentiment before, and I thought I really like that on here. So I've cut a couple of tags in the colours. This is ballerina, the true side of ballerina, and the light side of the flamingo. So these are Lagoon, Flamingo, and Carolina, Bluebird, one of them. And I'm going to layer them like that. So I'll just put a little bit of adhesive on this. Layer them like that. And I also wanted a little love heart on there. And I thought I'm going to pop the light side of the ballerina on there. So that's what I'm doing with that one. And again, I want these on a bit of an angle. Like that. But I do want a stamp on here. So what I'm going to do is grab my stamp, because I don't actually want that, I don't want the sentiment to be on an angle. I want the sentiment to be straight with the page. Just grabbing the foam piece of this. I'm going to go like so. I've already tested to see what colour I wanted on this, and Bluebird works really, really nicely. So I'm going to ink this up. Like so. And then have a look and see. Hello, Darren.
Hi. You're on the phone?
I'm doing a live.
Okay, bye-bye.
Now, my Bluebirds are a little bit not so good at the moment. For some reason, I don't know if something was used on a stamp and then put into Bluebird. So hopefully this will work. But as I mentioned, I wanted this to be nice and straight. So I'm just going to stamp that down and hold it for a few seconds. I have got the squishy underneath. That hopefully will just make sure that I get the best imprint on this that I can get. And I'm really happy with that. I've got my chamois over to the side, so I'll clean that off. And the other couple of stamps that I've got, so again, just elements that I've noticed on the page, is they put a splotch up here and a splotch down there, which I really liked. And this one they've stamped some really small words under there. So I thought I would have a go at doing a couple of those. So I've grabbed an old stamp set. It's not old, it's still available. This is Perfectly Imperfect Patterns, and these are splodges. So rather than having to do a splodge, these are stamps that do splodges for you. So again, just having a look, I'm thinking I'm going to probably grab this one, which is a bit of a square one, because I don't really feel like a circle goes with this particularly. So I'm grabbing that one, and I'm wondering where my blocks are. There they are. And I didn't grab a big enough block. Yes, I did. Okay. Now with this, I thought if I do flamingo, it's going to be quite dark. So the good thing about not having stuck this down yet is I can actually do a splotch under there, which is what I'm wanting to do. So we'll get our ink pad out, ink this up. These are such fun stamps, and I want to go under there like so. I'm just going to lift that up a little bit, have that poking out, and go like that. Press it down, and that just pokes out underneath. Now, I was thinking of doing a second generation one as well. So I've got a bit of scratch paper just off camera. I've just done a bit of a stamp there, and I'm going to pop that under there. And you'll see that's a little bit lighter, and that will just go under the corner of the photo there. So that's not bad. Then I'll clean off this one, because what I noticed with our new stamp, so this is brush strokes, and I love all of these sort of stamps because I'm not a messy sort of a girl, as you probably know, and these just help to give me mess on my page without me having to actually make the mess. So with this one, what I realized was there's happy birthday, thank you, and miss you, but I really like the idea of stamping under here, Miss Happy. So that is what I'm going to do. Just let me take this stamp set off. Chuck that on there. And grab and again, I've got the 2 splotches. I'm wanting to balance it, and so I'm thinking of putting another splotch here somewhere. So I'll probably just do this little one. I've used this one, that's clean, that can go away. How often have I not put my stamps away and then gone, where did that stamp set come from? Right, so this one I do want to do in ballerina, because the little words underneath I'm going to do in bluebird. I'm going to do a swipe like this. Right there. Like that. Clean that one off. And then grab the right side block. Grab my words. Clean that off and grab bluebird. Let me just put some lids back on, I think. And I'm going to go Miss. Beautiful. It's always scary, I think, when you're stamping directly onto paper. The beautiful thing that I've got here, though, is if I do muck it up, I can just bring the photo down and reposition it so that it covers the mess. All right, and then the word happy. So I'm not out of the woods yet. And there we go, Miss Happy. Now it's a little bit of sarcasm there, but that's okay, because she doesn't really look happy. I saw lots of stamps that said smile and that sort of thing, but it wasn't really appropriate for this page, I don't think. All right, so that is that, and then as I mentioned, I've got these 3 little yellow elements that I was going to pop on 1, 2, and 3. Figure out that sort of thing. And the other thing that I can do is these stamps also have these gorgeous little splatters. So I might grab this one and my block. So I'm going to put that on there, and I'll grab some ballerina, mean thinking, and just put just a few splatters under these bits. Like so. And then we tend to, when we're reading, we tend to read and our eye naturally goes down to this bottom corner. So I am just going to put a few splatters down in this bottom corner, just to give a little bit of interest in that bottom corner. The important thing with these stamps is that you do rotate them, because otherwise you can see the pattern and it doesn't really look like a splatter. So I'm just going to kind of do that, and there you have it. There's my page. Weaving, I'm going to trim off these ends and stick that down properly, and that is my page. Voila. I hope that you've enjoyed that. Sorry this video took a little bit longer than expected. Give it a go. If you like the idea of following a pattern, if you're not really sure, then certainly have a look at the MIFYH books. They are fantastic. I'm hoping now to go through and try the next pattern. So this is pattern 2, and this one does take, so it says it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 papers. However, because Close to My Heart papers are double-sided, we can always say that these two papers are the same paper. It's just that this is the reverse of that side. That is the finished layout from the next one. So what I'll be doing is I will be going through and checking out all my photos in my albums and seeing if I can do that. So that's my challenge for myself, to have a look for some photos and see what I can do with that. And hopefully I can come tomorrow and show you either a finished page and I'll step you through how I did it, or I might do it again. All right. Thank you so much for watching, ladies. Hope that you've enjoyed this daily creativity. For now, stay safe, keep crafting, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.